Are you waiting for an update from Sigma on support for Canon RF glass? Are you looking for affordable lenses like the 150 to 600 millimeter, or maybe a prime? Or what about the 70 to 200 millimeter? Canon rumors said that Sigma would be making a big Canon RF announcement, and that announcement would happen before the end of February. And before that story, Sony Alpha Rumors in September said that Canon will open their RF mount to third-party lens manufacturers. But now, at CP Plus 2024 in Yokohama, Japan, we have a transcript from an interview with Sigma president Kazuto Yamaki. And if you slept through CP Plus 2024 this year or didn't even know it took place, I don't blame you, because we didn't get any announcements from Canon, nothing from Nikon, nothing from Panasonic, OM Systems, Pentax, or Sony. We didn't get any announcements at all. We got a few lenses, we got a few discussions, and, well, Sigma released a whole bunch of lenses, but nothing for the Canon RF mount. So what did Sigma president say? Well, here we go. Sigma president Kazuto Yamaki said, "I'd like to think about what we can do, but it's difficult to say whether there's anything we can do right now." Now, does that sound like something a company would say if they're on the verge of a major announcement next week, before the end of February? It doesn't to me. It sounds, well, very disappointing, and this is the president of Sigma. Now, if something was planned for next week, they would probably use some sort of, well, he would use some sort of body language and posture and then indicate, "I can't talk about anything right now, but stay tuned." And that would work, something like that. But instead to say, "I really wish I could say something, but there's really nothing to say." And those aren't his real words. Let's take a look at them once again. "I would like to think," not say, "I would like to think about what we can do." He's dreaming, he's imagining. And then he goes on to say, "But it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say whether there is anything we can do right now." Whether there's anything he can do right now. He wants to think about the possibilities, to dream. But there's nothing he can do right now. Nothing he can say right now. That's disappointing. I'm disappointed. And you know me, I buy a lot of Canon L glass, and this doesn't affect me as much, but I have a lot of friends who have the Canon R50, the R7, the R10, that were looking for some affordable glass between, well, $300 and $1,500. The 70 to 200 millimeter, the 150 to 600 millimeter, some primes, a 35 millimeter f1.4. A lot of really great glass, but at least for Canon customers on the RF mount right now, it's not possible. Yes, you can adapt using the Canon EF to RF adapter and take old EF glass, but then you're dealing with older glass. You're not dealing with the latest and greatest. And to go ahead and buy a brand new camera, like even the R50, $679, great capabilities, better at even the 90D at resolving when it comes to video and stills, better detail, but you're not going to be able to, well, use that with newer modern glass. And if you do buy out of the Canon L series right now, or the RF mount, there really isn't a lot of lenses designed for APS-C, at least not that is, well, of a high quality. And without that 35 millimeter f1.2 out, which is what I would do if I still had or still shooting with a 70D or 80D or 90D, I would get the 35 millimeter f1.2 and use it as a 50 millimeter. There aren't an awful lot of options, and I understand your frustration. For Canon customers, 2023 was a rather dull and disappointing year. Things didn't really get excited until November, when Canon announced the 200 to 800 millimeter super telephoto lens alongside the 24 to 105 f2.8 L series image stabilized USMZ. A very exciting lens, a very innovative lens, an f2.8 on a 24 to 105, and giving it parfocal or quasi-parfocal zooming, along with some other video capabilities. It's truly an impressive lens, although at $29.99, for those looking for affordable glass, that's something that Sigma can provide. It's a little bit of a disappointment, at least for some. Now, for me, I think it's a very impressive lens, and I'm going to get it. But I understand that the marketplace isn't all about me. And I also understand that Sigma, that price point between $300 and $1,500, they provide a lot of primes and fast primes at f1.4. And I know when it comes to L series glass, the sharpness and the speed of the autofocus and all that is second to none, but not everybody is a professional photographer or videographer, and that Sigma glass, it's essential for those entry-level and mid-level cameras. And after those two lenses started shipping in December, we started to turn our attention to Q1 of 2024, only to be told earlier this month that we're not getting the Canon EOS R1 or the EOS R5 Mark II anytime in Q1. In fact, we would have to wait till late April or early May when both cameras would be announced, and then only be able to pick them up in Q3 or even in Q4. You know, the one word I should have used on this video is disappointment, because I think that's what a lot of people feel here. And even if you're like me, you buy L series glass and the Sigma range of lenses is not something that is really of appeal to you, you have to admit that for anybody looking at buying the R50, the R100, the R7, or even the R10, Sigma offers a lot to those people that need affordable glass, that need, well, to be able to buy a prime like a 35mm, a 50mm, a 24mm that has an aperture at f1.4, that's a pretty big deal. So I am a little bit disappointed, and I know you are too. I know I'm ranting about it a little bit, but is this necessarily a bad thing? It gives me some downtime, allowing me to plan my move to Vancouver, where I will retire. I'll also use this downtime to spend more time taking my camera outside and shooting for the joy of it, for the love of it, instead of just for this channel. And I did that last night after I shot this video. I was out with a Canon RF 200 to 800mm. The moon was 100% full and the sky was clear and the moon was just above us, so that helped reduce atmospheric turbulence. Because until spring arrives, this is as good as I can do, Kathy, because like where you are, everything is brown, gray, and dead looking. And you see, that's one of the reasons why I want to move to Vancouver, because even though it can get a little bit gray and rain quite a bit, at least things start turning green in, well, late January. January. And my mother just told me, as well as my brother and everybody else I talked to out there in the last week or so, yep, the flowers are coming up. And what do I have outside? Well, it's -15 right now, and it's it's cold, but there's no snow, so everything's dead and gray looking, and, you know, at least we got a few sunny days. But it's, you know, to take my camera and go outside, to take the 200 to 800mm, the amount of times I've taken it out this winter has been, well, on this hand, and I saw nothing. All the birds were inside because, well, not inside, you know what I mean. The birds were kind of hidden away because, well, it was sunny at times. It was cold, it was windy, and they didn't want to sit around in the sun and get cold. They like sitting outside on a nice winter day, on a sunny day when, well, there's no wind. So it's been a pretty boring winter, and I'm bored. I'm tired. I'm using this downtime to kind of relax and plan my move to Vancouver. And it was nice to get outside, or will be by the time you watch this. You saw the B-roll, but I'm looking forward to that because I saw where the moon was. It's in a perfect part of the sky. I can easily get outside with my tripod and the camera and shoot it. And I'm looking forward to that because even though I've had super telephotos for many years, to actually get the moon where it's directly right above to minimize atmospheric turbulence, because you're dealing with what, maybe 5 to 7, well, even I guess 1 to 5 kilometers where the atmosphere is pretty dense and then it's pretty light. So to be able to shoot straight up is one thing, and the winter time is the best time of all because the temperature is the coldest, and what that allows us to do is, well, get a clearer picture because of the reduced humidity. So reduced humidity, less atmospheric turbulence. The problem is with winter, though, it's overcast most of the time. So this is the first time this winter that I've actually had the moon straight overhead, 100% full. So that's pretty exciting for me. But after I've shot this, I'll probably sleep in tomorrow, maybe answer some of your comments because it's going to be really cold and I can't think of anything else I want to shoot outside. And that's why one of the reasons why I'm planning my trip to Vancouver. a much more temperate climate. Things green up a whole lot quicker. And in the summer, it doesn't get really hot. It doesn't get really hot at all. And I do look forward to that. And I know Vancouver is expensive, but I live in a very expensive part of the country. You know, the greater Toronto area in terms of Vancouver isn't that much cheaper. And when it comes to rent, Vancouver and Toronto are almost bang on. Buying is a little bit more expensive, but I would equate it to this way. I could take my 4-bedroom house here and sell it and probably get a house in Vancouver, in the city itself, for the same price, but for about half the square footage. So I'm looking forward to moving out there, but let's go ahead and round up this video. I don't want to be ranting any longer. Sorry about the disappointment. I wish I had better news for you. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on X if you want to stay up to date on all the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. And if you're interested in purchasing any camera gear, if you're still disappointed and looking at getting the Canon EOS R5 Mark I instead of waiting for the Mark II, you can pick it up. You can pick it up for $29.99 with a CF Express Type B card, as well as a card reader at Anorama, or $29.99 at B&H. No kit packages just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if that changes next week. Great deals on Sony, Panasonic, Nikon, and a whole bunch of other cameras. But thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.